Rise and shine out here on this tenacious Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of Life Talks, and you are listening to yours truly, the one and only Nina Marie, your unity in the community kind of chick. And I'm so excited that y'all have chosen to spend a few minutes with me on tonight as we continue on this ship's journey. Do you hear me? So if you have not already followed me on my social media platforms, make sure you go and like, comment, share, all of the above. Nina Marie on Facebook. You can find me on TikTok under Real Nina Marie and on IG under Real_Nina Marie. And so I'm super excited to be with y'all on this evening. And if you have journeyed at all with me, or this is your first time, welcome. Welcome, ladies and gents, and not just to any old show, but to Life Talks with your girl, your new friend, your new bestie, Nina Marie. And what is Life Talks? I'm glad that you asked, because Life Talks, I often say, it's for boys, it's for girls, it's for men, it's for women. It is for mature conversations that you are guaranteed to benefit from. Okay? Guaranteed conversations that you're able to benefit from. Why? Because life talks. And when you get together and you have some conversations, you're very clear that you can just talk about life, right? And so I'm super excited for tonight's show. Now, I got to give y'all some backstory. But even before I jump into that, make sure you go and like the platforms. Okay, there's a lot of different things coming down the funnel that me and the team have been working on. I'm super excited about it, from the production side of life to uh the travel side of life, like all of the above. And as I have hit this 45 to 45 day campaign on my social media platforms as well as on the show, I'm in part 3 of 5. And I'll do a quick recap in a moment. But make sure you're following the social media platforms so that you can stay in the tune, in the loop of all of the good stuff and the scoop of what's going on and what's coming up. So if you are planning to go with us to Mexico, okay, we will be heading to Mexico from New Orleans, baby, as they say, in October. I'm super excited for all of the fans out there that has just been so gracious in the adjustment of the date. Okay, such an adjustment there, but the perks were so worth it from Carnival. So shouts out to our personal reps that are taking care of that. But we are definitely locked and loaded, ready to sail. And there is still time for you to get your $50 deposits in. You can, the dates, let me tell you the dates. The dates are October 26th through October 30th. October 26th through October 30th. It is a Thursday through a Monday. And I'm telling you all now, it is going to be lit. Do you hear me? I mean, like, just not no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We are getting ready to have a complete ball. And I'm super excited about that. Okay. Just super excited about what it is that we're doing and how it is that we're doing all of the good stuff. So make sure you are following us on our social media platforms, and make sure that you are liking, and make sure that you are loaded inside of those social media platforms. Also, you can text 810-810. That is the number that you can text. It is 81010. So 81010. Make sure you text that number. And in the message memo, you make sure you put the @ symbol. Yes, let's go. That is the @ symbol, YES, let's, LETS, go, GO. You want to make sure that you are in the trenches of this cruise with us, because y'all, I'm telling you, it is going to be amazing. We're having a spade tournament, a domino tournament. We are also doing a 90s party, because yours truly was born in the 70s, right? I feel like I was born in the 90s, but born in the 70s. However, it is definitely going to be a 90s party because that's the genre and the era that I grew up in. So super excited and fun for those that are already locked and loaded, and there is still room. Family affair, you can bring the family. Mine will be there. You can just make this a boo trip, or you can make this a trip for you and the girls, you and the guys, whichever way you want to go. Make sure that you do not let that bus, that train, that plane, whatever you got to do to get to New Orleans on or in October, you want to make sure that you are locked and loaded and ready for this cruise. So make sure you are following us on our social media platforms, okay? So let's get to the meat of this stuff, right? I have been talking about the ships, okay? Like literally talking about the ships. And I did a 5-part journey of the importance of the ships in our lives and the relationships and the 5 relationships that should be or should take precedence over all of these other areas, if you understand what I mean. Okay. So the first one, week 1, part 1, I should say, not week 1, but part 1 was talking about the importance of your relationship with God. Okay. Understanding that it's that vertical relationship that simply is an outpouring or reflection of your horizontal. Okay. Part 2 of the ships, and just fun facts about me. Part 2 was on self and the importance of once you got that first vertical relationship in place, then your first horizontal relationship that goes and takes precedence over everything and everybody else is with you, yourself. Getting to know you, getting to know all of the above about you, what you like, what you don't like, and the importance that I really hit on self-care. Because really knowing that if you don't take care of you, baby, then you not no good for nobody else. Okay. But part 3, honey, let me tell you, part 3 is definitely one of my favorite parts. And it is on the fact that you got your first relationship vertical together, then your horizontal relationship. Now you can explore and build on external relationships. And this week, we're specifically talking about the lover side of life, okay, with that significant other. And what I understand is that everybody wants these really great relationships, but yet nobody wants to put the work in. Nobody wants to make the necessary sacrifices. And I can't say nobody, but most people don't want to make the necessary sacrifices, okay, to have these great relationships. And so this particular area, believe it or not, is one of the most keen areas that I love to really mentor or even in ministry minister on, because I understand the importance of the family structure, and that family structure starts with the heads, right? Mom and dad, king and queen, right? Girlfriend, boyfriend, those that are seeking to possibly explore a future together so that we can have a bunch of, you know, a community growing through these two coming together, if you will. Okay. And so I am super excited because we have a special guest on tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell y'all this. Although you will not see him on because he's always just doing what he does, working so diligently for the team, but I couldn't have thought of a better person to join me in this conversation on tonight as we discuss the ships, and not just from Nina's perspective and what I believe, but also from the opposite sex, and not just any opposite sex, but from somebody that I have not only come to value who he is as a businessman, but I have come to value who he is and who I know him to be as a man. Now, let me just say this, ladies and gents. Far from perfect, I'm sure, because I'm the one leading the ring. Far from perfect, but from somebody that I can respect his thoughts and viewpoints, not only because this is what's coming out of his mouth, but because of the actions that I get to see and observe even from a distance, right? So, without further ado, ladies and gents, you are going to get the pleasure of hearing at least his voice because he's always behind the scenes working for the team with Social Ghosts, but he is our CEO and man with the plan, Mr. Darien, better known as Shady Wheel. Are you out there, sir?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Hello, how are
Thank
you?
I am fabulous, and thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
You
Pleasure
are
to be here.
always like so behind the scenes, just doing what it do. And I see the smile in the picture. That's just your personality radiating through, the screen and out there to our listeners and our viewers. So again, thank you, sir, for joining me on tonight and giving us this perspective, okay, from what a man thinks, and just as we're exploring the side of these ships in the relationship side, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Let's get
thank
it.
you. Absolutely. And listen, I'm over here jamming. You know I love music in my show, but I'm going to give them just a little bit because, see, I believe that our society started shifting when we shifted our music and just tunes that men actually sung to women or women actually sung to men. But do you remember this old school, or are you a little bit too young for this?
No, absolutely. We 70s babies. I'm with you.
You already know it.
Yeah, we was all about love. Love and relationships back in that day.
I'm telling you, right? This was when music was music.
Right.
I can tell you exactly where I was when this album basically dropped. When In Vogue dropped, I had specific songs on the album that I just loved. But this is when, again, music was music, right? So, journey with me for a second because we're talking about lovers, right? And we're talking about songs that was just, when I tell you, songs that we could not even live without. So journey with me for a second as we go down memory lane on some of these songs that we know kept us in the game and kept lovers in lovers. Okay. So let me see if you, of course, would remember this. Now I don't know if you ready, but brace yourself because I heard you sing a tune or two when it comes to music. But at the end of the day, only real music players will know and jam to songs like this, right?
Make me mad.
See, you already knew when this type of song came on. We wasn't really talking about you needed three women, one for this and one for that, and then one that just don't give a dog. See, these were songs that kind of put you not only in the mood, but in a position of where you was like, man, when you heard these type of tracks, it was just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm gonna give you this last one before we jump into it.
Just simply can't.
Mm.
It's the love we share.
I'm telling my age, but it's okay because for my audience, it's my birthday month too. So you must know that I'm vibing all month. Okay. Y'all just so happen to get the kickoff on the ship side of things. And we're talking lovers and we're talking just the songs that even put you there. Okay. Shade. You know when you heard these type of songs. When
Yes,
you heard
ma'am.
these type of songs. These songs are the songs that maybe me and you were at least beginning to explore our first boyfriend, girlfriends type of thing.
Hey, we was down writing the letters. You write the letters, you put the song on there. what was on their mind or whatever. You put the song, the mood, all of that. You remember
Man, listen, do you like me? Yes or no?
that?
Right? Right?
Absolutely.
See, nowadays, we done got so far fletched from this whole game that don't nobody even go together no more. We just talking. Or we've even learned to clone the statement friends with benefits, right? Am I
Right.
right? Or because I'm gonna talk about my brothers, good and bad,
I
right?
got you. Yeah.
And our women is the same because women are just as bad these days. When I hear different stories from dear brothers of mine, I be in amazement because I think that we are in a society today that so many ships outside of our first two are such a reflection on based on this third one in a major way. So, your experience from a male's perspective, right? Before we jump into his needs and her needs, what would you say, D, has been your experiences overall being a young, professional, amazing father, business owner, you know, that is not single, but let's say you're not married yet, but what has been your experiences with today's dating world before we jump into it?
Okay. Well, the dating aspect today is totally different from, back in our day. Um, like now, like you said, we had the piece of paper. Do you like me? Yes or no? So we
Mhm.
become boyfriend and girlfriend. But today, there's dating, and there's different compartments to it. Like, we're casually dating. So we may talk every now and then, may hang out. And then, you have exclusively dating. So this is the only person that you're talking to and you're not dealing with anyone else. But there's still not a relationship title on it. So I think after you graduate from exclusively dating, you're in a relationship. So after the relationship, you're now progressing towards a marriage. So that's my understanding of it today. I think that it's a little bit more complicating now because it seems like the process will be easier. If we had this process back in the day, I think we would have thrived in it. But I think now that it makes communication a little bit more difficult. I think the process is supposed to make it easier, but I think it's also different than what it was. It was so simple back then.
Absolutely. Wasn't it simple? Or at least we thought it was, if you will.
Right,
I know that it's definitely much simpler in respects that you don't have a lot of the interferences that people can experience today in a variety of ways,
right,
whether that is the women working outside of the home, because back in our grandparents' day they were at home. If the man was cheating, she wasn't cheating because she was at home all the time, you
right,
know um or you can even refer it to the simplicity back then of the interferences from social media. you know I hear a lot of people say that one may be on social media but the other one isn't because they've experienced, they want a relationship. Like, I'm always amazed at those type of statements because a strong relationship is going to be strong whether we both on IG or not,
right,
but I can say that some of the simplicity has changed from back then compared to today with some of the um what you call it, interferences that we can experience today, right?
right.
So I can definitely agree with you there. Now let me ask you this from today's time, because I'm a bit from the old school. This is a fun fact about me on these ships, right? So I'm a bit from the old school. I'm a PYT still. That's a pretty young thing, right? I'm a
Right.
PYT still, but I'm still about to be almost 50, right? So I feel like I have the best of both worlds, to where I'm still old school, where I like a man to be a man. I love a gentleman. I do not think that chivalry is gone. You know, there's still amazing men left out there. Mine just hasn't come yet, and that's perfectly okay, because I rather not have a man than to settle for a piece of man. Right. So I'm totally cool with that. So I have the best of both worlds, to where I understand that it's important for a man to be a man. But then the new school, being this PYT over here in this world, you have the women that, because we are in the new millennium, as they say, and I've heard multiple people tell me this, that um they even women approach men now, right? Now that's not something that I technically do, just being honest. I even, just kind of honestly, just kind of, I wanted to know if somebody was at least single, so I asked the question, right? But how do you even feel with the dating world today, being a man? Like, how has that changed compared to dating, let's say, back in the day? Is there a big difference there? Do you find that women, because I'm probably single because I'm just out here sleep and slipping like everybody else, just shooting a shot, and I'm over here debating if I'm even ask somebody if they single. So, like, how do you see dating changing from what used to be, even in that respects of the roles changing today from a male's perspective?
Well, back in the day, we didn't have the internet. The internet wasn't what it is today. So,
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, when you meet somebody, I think you value them more because you wasn't being able to actually see the world. You live in the city. You may, move around to different areas in the city meeting women, but normally if you meet someone, you're into that person. You actually getting to know that person and concentrate on that
Mm-hmm.
person a little bit more because you don't have all of the outside interferences in the world. So today, with social media, with the rise of technology and the internet, it's easier to talk to multiple people, um, even more than that at one time because you have these social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, uh, Snapchat, you know, what other other platforms you have. It's easier to talk to people, and you're hiding behind the screen, so it's easier to be more bold. It's easier to be, say and do whatever you want to do because, now you can be this person. Even though you may not be
Yeah,
the person who you proclaim yourself to be, it's easier to do that today compared
that's true.
to the past. So
Absolutely.
yeah, from a male, it make it a whole lot easier to date around and it just makes it that's what it is. It's easier today than it was, back in the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that, because of that, we get an opportunity to see these highlight reels within the relationships, right?
Right.
We get an opportunity to see the best parts, and then unfortunately tomorrow you see divorce papers and you're like, dang, but I thought, because of the social media and all of these things today, we do get an opportunity, as I mentioned, to see highlight reels. And sometimes it's the facade that people are after. People are not even necessarily after the person as much as they're after the image
I
and the
agree.
facade, that this person is portraying within this relationship, or what it may appear to be, you know?
I agree.
Um, and either way, I just was talking to someone recently in a meeting that I had, and I used to always say that, because I really do know that life or death is in the power of the tongue, right? And I used to always say that people don't put the prefix on the relationships. Like, relationships are work, but people don't put the prefix on there, and that's hard work. Now, I always would say that, but I want to bring some clarity to the hard work. Now, hard does not necessarily have to be treacherous or something in the negative condensation, right? it just means that there's work that is involved. And like I said, people want the great relationships, but they don't want to put the work into it. Okay. So as we close, I wanted to pull out this list. It's a his and hers list. Okay. And within this his and hers list, I thought it was so good because I know that we are so clear on what we want. Okay.
Now, are
Now,
you
let
saying
me
we
ask,
as a woman, or are you saying we as people in general?
as people in general,
Okay, I got
right? We as people in general, we're very clear on what we want. But are you familiar, Shady, on the five love languages?
I am.
Okay. Well, of course, your profession, right?
Yes.
So I love the five love languages. And although people have, and for those that don't know, it's a book out there called The Five Love Languages. And you may operate in multiple areas within your love language, but there are one, possibly two, that has a stamp on there with Nina's name on it, with Shady Will's name on it, with Tasha's name. Like you got your specific top tier one or one of two that may be running neck and neck on your love language. And what happens is within this book, you are not only identifying what your love language is, just now knowing exactly what to call it, you are able to love in return your significant other. Okay. So there's five of them. There's quality time. There is acts of service. There is physical touch. There is words of affirmation. And there are gifts. So if you have not done the five love languages quiz on yourself to know you, remember that was that second tier of the ships, but also on your significant other. And I'm going to take you even a step further and say, do it on your children as well. But what this has really done outside of enhanced relationships is that it tends to tell you or communicate to you what your lover's love language is. And you're able to love him or her the way that they desire to be loved versus the way that you want to be loved. Because that's until we are really in tune with who we are and understanding these type of things, we tend to love people the way we want to be loved. And then you wonder why Jackie done went to the store to get bread and never came home. Or you wonder why John every night is on his way to the bar to hang out with the guys and he'll see you in the morning because you definitely gonna be asleep every time he comes home. Because we are loving each other based on our language versus based on our lover's language. Okay. So within the five love languages, Shady Wheel, um, as we understand those differences, there's specific needs that come out of that. And I am a big believer that anytime a relationship grows apart, because you'll hear people say all the time, oh, we just grew apart. No, no, honey. Y'all just didn't intentionally grow together. Because again, remember, we want these great relationships, but don't nobody want to put in the work. There's not regularly scheduled date nights. You know, ain't no telling when the last time they've been away for each other. Like I mentally, I have a whole idea of what I'm looking forward to getting in my relationship, but most importantly, what I look forward to contributing. See, one of the things on my list is that we will be away every quarter. Every quarter we'll be on a king and queen trip. Couple of times a year we'll include the family, but every quarter it'll be our thing. We'll have date nights. Like those are type of things that you got to be intentional about. So when you think about his needs, her needs, D, okay, bringing this thing home. There are five needs and of his and hers. Now there are more, But based on what we are looking at, there are 5 needs that I believe hit that nail on the head pertaining to men. So I'm going to talk about mine first, okay? Because I believe that people always say happy wife, happy life. Have you heard that?
I have, but that narrative have changed. But yeah, I have heard that. That was my
Right?
mantra for a while, but it has changed.
Was it?
Yeah,
Now, I think personally, no offense, ladies, I think that that's the stupidest thing ever because a happy spouse is equivalent to a happy house. So it's not
yeah,
just about her, it's about us. You know what I'm saying? And so for her needs, okay, one of the things that I can speak of from a woman's perspective is affection. Okay. Now, for a woman, and we can go back and forth on our number ones real fast. Okay. So for a woman, you cannot. I remember being a part of this class. It was a Bible study to be exact. And this specific Bible study was for wives. Okay. And I love that type of stuff. But I remember a statement being made within there that talked about women are like a pot of spaghetti and men are like crock pots. Okay. Now, Shady will take some notes, bro. Take some notes. Okay.
I got you.
Women are like spaghetti and men are like crock pots. So, meaning for a woman, when we come in, we need to be able to digress with all of these open lids in our lives. Okay. It may be the open lid of something that happened at work. It could be the open lid on something that the kid said or did. It could be an open lid on a business decision that needs to be made. You know, it's just these open lids. And for a woman, because we have the weight at times of these outside interferences, like a man does as well, when we can have the ability to have our male come in to be the head and the king that he is to help seal the deal on some of these lids in our lives, it makes life 100% easier for us to help y'all with y'all number one. Do you agree with that?
I do. But I think like in these days, and women, y'all are way more mature when it comes to affection, and I see, as far as for his needs, sexual fulfillment compared to
Uh-huh.
affection. I think his sexual fulfillment is a part of the affection, but I think women are more mature when it comes to affection. But my key in affection is communication. It's even
Yeah.
stronger than the sexual fulfillment. So that's my thing with that. But
Mm-hmm.
I do understand the sexual fulfillment is a very big need for us. We need that.
Yeah.
I can't really get into it as to why, but I do understand what you're saying, affection and what all that y'all go to. But I think if the communication is really strong between those two people, the what y'all deal with affection will be a whole lot easier to deal with when it comes to coming home to us or us coming home to you. With you dealing with the world, we'll be able to actually, engulf that and actually be able to, maybe be a little bit more of a buffer or, your comfort zone or whatever you want to call it. But I think we'd be better with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the number two for a woman is that conversation, that communication piece. You know, um, you're very rare, and I've been very blessed in my 44 years gracefully that I have never just been through a bad relationship by the grace of God. And I've been very blessed to have great men around me, such as yourself, different adoptive brothers that I've encountered throughout the years. That um, it takes a very special man to understand what you just said pertaining to communication.
yeah,
You know, not many men get that, and it takes the maturity of a male to understand that very statement on communication because That's the number two high priority, on our list for sure,
Yeah.
What
All right.
about you? What about something else on your list that you want to share that you think is very important also?
Okay, I believe that recreational companionship, that's true. We want to be with someone who we
Hmm.
can do stuff with. Like I love sports. Now I can understand
Big
if
time.
my spouse does not like sports, but going to an event with me, actually being in the atmosphere, working out with me, stuff like that. Even little things that we can do as far as that means a lot. That's true. Recreational companionship. That's a very big deal. That's a very big deal.
That's huge.
Yeah, huge.
That's huge.
Yeah, I don't want to just be with somebody. And, I'm a homebody. I love being at home. I'll tell anybody that I love being at home. But I do,
Mhm.
with being at home with my spouse, I want to do things at home, play
Yeah.
games,
Yeah.
video games, board
Yeah.
games, cook together.
Yeah.
You know, even cleaning together.
Yeah.
Like watching movies actively. I dig all of that. I feel that's recreational as well. But I want to comment on what you said earlier as far as you saying what I said, and it takes someone, a very mature man to actually say those things. I had to learn these things, Nina. So I'm
Hmm.
44 years old as well. I've been the dirtiest of the dirty when it comes to us. I've been a
Yeah.
cheater.
Yeah.
I've done anything that you can imagine, all the bad things that men can do. I was
Right.
married. I've been divorced going on four years. Um, I cheated on my wife.
Hmm.
I've done everything, so I can't sit here and be the
Absolutely.
poster boy because I'm pretty much the same. I've just learned from what I've done.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I'm very, and I feel like karma has came to see me. I It's visiting me, and I understand it. So now I'm able to communicate more a little bit more fluently about it.
Absolutely. And thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that, being honest, because like I pitched from the beginning, neither of us are perfect. As a divorcee myself, I never look at different things that I go through in life as losses, but they're lessons and we from them, and so they do not perfect, and if they do, then thank you for reiterating that for
Right,
sure. Because if we don't grow through what we go through, then like you said, or I know I was in a meeting earlier, like we'll look up 2 years wondering why are we still in the same place, you
right,
know? Um, and I do want to hit on recreational companionship. Man, that's so important, D. That is so important. And I see both sides to where she don't want to do nothing he likes and he don't want to do nothing she like. And I am looking at a relationship only but time doomed.
right,
Because when you become entrenched or attracted to that other one, especially when where y'all say I do. See, what he want to do is no longer about what you like, just being honest, and vice versa.
right,
I can remember doing so many things that my ex loved to do. And I did not want to do none of that stuff, but I eventually even liked it because I wasn't interested in showing up with this nasty attitude that made him wish that I would have stayed at home anyway. Because we'd do that too as a woman, But I think being a part of that recreational companionship, honestly, D is imperative, you know, and that goes for both ways. It's not about what you want to do no more, but it's about what makes your significant other smile, and
right,
vice versa. Because if it's a one-way street, then that's not fair neither. That's how I got cheated. I can tell you to this day his favorite A, B, and C on down to his social. And he can't even tell you what my favorite food was because it was a one-side street. So
right,
I do agree with the whole recreational companionship. And if you are not intentionally dating your boo, shame on you. Let me just say that now. Shame on you. You have to be about and plan it. And it doesn't have to cost you anything. I wish I had it in my hand, y'all, but I got this book that's called 101 Date Nights. And it's so many dates options, y'all, and they're sealed. It's so precious. I love stuff like that. But it's a sealed book that each day is rather for her eyes and for his eyes, but all of it is sealed. That you gotta open it to even know what it is you're supposed to be doing. That type of stuff keeps that stuff so you ain't even gotta come up with nothing. You don't even have to come up with nothing. Okay. So that type of stuff is just a no-brainer, right? Um, and on my list, I would say family commitment, you know. Just in closing, I'll leave with that one. Family commitment, you know. A lot of times, you know, and I'm looking at honesty and openness. To me, those are non-negotiables, you know, in my world. But family commitment, you know, you'll be so shocked, Shady Will, how much I'm out in the city. And I've been in my city, particularly now for 14 years. And I look at some folks like, dang, you married? I didn't even know these cats was married, let alone have I ever seen them out with their families. And that to me says a lot about a male that you never see with his family or his significant other, you know? So that's the last one that I'll share on my list. Do you have any comments on that or one that you want to finish out as we close out? Because I can go on and on about this, but this is where they're going to get Light Talks After Dark eventually. That's
I
coming
can't
soon.
wait for it. Look, that's what I've been waiting on for everyone that's listening on the radio, watching on social media. I am ready for Nina Marie After Dark, y'all. Oh my
Yes.
God, Life Talks After Dark. But yeah, I
Yes.
agree with the family commitment, and I am big on family. You know, as you know, I am a father, so that's one of my values. So you know, if I'm dealing with someone, and you know, I'm thinking along the age where I am, more than likely, if I'm dealing with someone, they're probably going to have children. So that's very important to me because I want to see how you treat your children, and I want to see, eventually, if we make it that far, how you treat mine.
That
And
part.
is it genuine and authentic? So that's
That's
that's very
big.
big for me. Yeah, I agree with that. That's very big.
And you know, I'll say this to that as well, Shady Will, is that see, let me tell you, I love what you said. I need to know how you treat your kids, definitely how you treat mine, but this is the deal. See, I don't even deal with guys that's like, yeah, she won't let me see my kids. You got to be kidding me because I had them people in her life so tough, just like the women put the people in the men's world.
Right,
I'll be putting them people in her life so tough because there is no excuses. I would not feel good about myself if, like you said, we were to make it and now we traveling and you know how much I travel, we jet sailing and propelling around the world, and your kids is watching your social media pages with me and my kids, and we off in Africa riding zebras or something, you
right.
know. I just wouldn't want that. So I agree with you at 150 as it pertains to that family big time. Okay. Last one on your list, anyone that you want to point out before we bring it on home?
An attractive spouse.
Mm. Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of misconceptions with that when it comes to men. I
Okay.
think like I personally want that woman that you see at home without the makeup, the
Mhm.
hair. I like seeing someone in their natural state. I'm more
Okay.
attracted to that. When I
Okay.
see you out and about and you made all up, you're not the same person when you get home because the mask comes off.
Yeah.
I like to see that person who has the mask off because that's the person who I'm loved. That's who I want to
Yeah.
be with for the rest of my life. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that that's really a whole lot of a different that's really different now. Now compared to back then because you
Yeah.
see a person naturally every day back then, but now like you say, you see all this extra stuff. And I'm not knocking anyone. I know everyone, like everyone wants to be the best
Yeah.
version of themselves. But I think as a man, we I don't think all of us care about that. It
Yeah.
may be, you know, it may be some, but like you having the lashes and the all that stuff, that stuff don't matter to us.
Yeah.
It really don't. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what's attractive. Attractive is not a physical thing to me, it's more of a mental thing to me.
Yeah.
If I enjoy being, I look forward to getting off being home with you because I know we about to trip and laugh. That's the mental part of it. I love the mental part of the woman. That's who I want to spend the rest of my life with. I don't want to be with somebody who I can live with, because like I said, we age differently, our bodies transform. That person's not going to look that way forever, but the mind can. The mind's going to be the same. It's going to be stronger, wiser, and that's the person I want to be with and spend the rest of my life with. So I just want to kind of clarify that misconception about an attractive spouse. And that attraction is more than skin deep. Nina? Oh my God, I wanted to have before at a loss of words. Well, everyone, you have been watching Life Talks. I'm Shady Will. I'm not sure what's going on, but we're gonna give Nina a minute to see if she can come back in. I really appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tune in to Life Talks with Nina Marie every Tuesday at 5:30 ish. Um, on SGR 81.4 FM, and also watch her on Facebook, Twitch, on the Social Ghost website, and also on YouTube. This has been a very, very good podcast. I really enjoy y'all. Make sure y'all still tune in to the other platforms on the Social Ghost platforms. We have Happy New Day. We have GVO Radio coming up next with Big Sat at 7:30 to 8:30. That's a radio show on SGR 81.4 FM. Make sure you tune into the Juice tomorrow with IG. Um, on Friday morning, once again, like I say, make sure you tune in to Happy New Day. Every other Sunday, you get to get some of that verbal elixir with Nada and Ivy. And you also get What's Up Shreveport every now and then. And there's more to come. We will be coming back with Pool Table Conversations. It's going to be strictly a virtual show, and we'll be laying something out. And, we're going to get things together. And that's going to be more of a panel type of podcast discussing different elements or subjects, whatever want to be discussed on that particular day. And the plan is to have guest hosts for every show for Pool Table Conversation. So please stay tuned for that. Like, once again, I'm Shady Will. I really appreciate everyone that support and follows. Please like and share. Please go to our platforms and follow us. Like and follow. Do both. We're better together. Hey, y'all. It's Shady Will.